Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about the One Piece card game. I'm continuing my coverage of OP03 Pillars of Strength with another deck profile today. If you have not seen the huge number of these that I've already done, you can check those out up there. If I haven't put up a deck profile for a meta-relevant deck, it's probably coming really soon, so you should hit the subscribe button to be notified when it does. Of course, 80% of you are not subscribed, which is a little bit hurtful. I think you should hit the button. Also, you should like the video if you do enjoy it, but you can wait till the end to do that, don't worry. Also, if you are interested in in-depth guides to all the meta decks, you can find them on my Patreon. They are coming if they have not already been made on a really relevant meta deck. I promise you, I'm working on it. You should check it out, linked in the description. If you want a sort of rough feel for the kind of content you're getting by giving me $5 a month, you can find the OP02 and OP01 guides for free on my YouTube channel once the format ends, or is sort of running up to a close, so people can still get some value out of it. I do put those up publicly, but if you want them months in advance so you can really start getting prepped for events, you should check out my Patreon. You should subscribe to it. I'd really appreciate it. Helps me pay off the microphone and the camera. Anyway, enough shilling. Let's go ahead and get started with Zephyr. This is one of my favorite decks in the game because it is really quite ooga booga, really quite brainless, and really quite fun. So let's go ahead and talk about why. Zephyr is a black-purple leader with his navy and neo-navy traded. The leader has an effect when attacking, don -4, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less, then this gains 1k for the turn. So this is a 6k swing that KOs a 3 or less. That seems kind of bad, but of course we do need to contextualize it with a certain other card which we'll talk about soon. But keep that effect in the back of your mind. Okay, so we play 4 copies of Suru. Honestly, we're just playing this because it's a 2k counter. Occasionally it does come up though as a unit you want to play to give -2 cost to something to trigger a further piece of removal. Play 4 copies of Fukuro. This is a one of the best cards in the game, honestly. One of the best card that Black got. This is a 3/3 blocker with a 1k counter, but it can't be KO'd by effects, which means it's one of, if or the only chump blockers in the game that you can actually still play in OP03, and it doesn't feel absolutely horrible. We play 4 copies of Sasaki and 4 copies of Jack. The reason we play these is if we go first, we need to ramp a card. Like, we absolutely have to. So we play 8 of these ramp cards that we can play on the second turn, just to sort of fix our play down on the second turn. In Sasaki's case, we have to use it on the third, which obviously really sucks. You would, and it's a 2k counter, so you would much rather play down a Jack, but we need to fix our curve, so we are playing down 10 cost Kuzan as fast as humanly possible. We're playing 4 copies of Toshigi, but this is basically just played because it's a 2k counter. Honestly, I would cut this and play Garp instead, because that's another alt art you can play for maximum blank. Speaking of alt arts, here we come to the expensive section of the deck. So we play 4 copies of Khalifa. This is again played just because it's a 2k counter, no other reason. We play, I mean, sometimes you want to play it for the filter, but like, it's basically just because it's a 2k counter. Although I guess you could contest a red board if you really need to. We play 4 copies of Kuzan. This is an amazing card. 4/5 on plays a draw a card, and then when it attacks, you give -4 cost to something. Generally speaking, this is something you want to be waiting until your turn 4 to play, because you want to combo it in turn 5. We play 4 copies of Borsalino. This card needs no introduction. It is the best blocker in the game, in my opinion. We play 4 copies of 5 cost Queen. This is also a 6k blocker, like Borsalino, but it has an on-play, Dom -1, to draw 2, pitch 1. Generally speaking, you're going to be waiting to play Queen until after you have played down your 10 cost Kuzan, because your curve needs to be ramping up the 10 as fast as possible, and then you can don minus after that. It doesn't really matter. We play 4 copies of Garp. This card was really slept on in OP02, I think. It cooks incredibly hard. Being able to just pop 4 costs or lowers every single turn is very valuable. If your opponent jet pistols this, fine. They just used 4 don on their turn to do that. That means that's 4 don that's not going into attacking you, which is buying you more time to actually play down your Kuzan. But if they do attack into it, that's a 6k body they're attacking into. It gets very, very easy to protect a 6k body, let me tell you. We play 2 copies of Sakazuki. Popping 5 costs is still very, very good, but there's a lot of cards without counter in this deck. Personally, I think you could adjust the ratios between Garp and Sakazuki a little bit if you wanted to. Maybe go 3/3 or 2/4, swap the other way around. I think either can work. Both are really, really impactful, high-value cards, though. We play 4 copies of Tenko's Kuzan. This is the heart and soul of the deck, right? This is the reason you're playing this deck. So the flow is essentially you ramp up to 10 don as fast as possible. I say ramp up, you're only actually playing the ramp cards if you go first. Otherwise, you're just doing your best to play good cards on curve, and then the second you hit 10 don, you slam down the Kuzan and you attack with your leader. You are popping 2 cards on your opponent's field at bare minimum. Oh, I don't know why my camera just did that, but let's ignore the fact that you can see my laundry in the background. Oh my god, that's no, stop. Oh, that's really embarrassing. Hello. I'm going to leave that in. Why not? Anyway, so the way the flow works is then you swing with your leader, you do Don -4, and you pop an 8 cost because you just played a Kuzan. So you pop a 5 cost and you pop an 8 cost. But it gets even better. The reason you want to play your Kuzan the turn before you do this is you can swing into it to give -4 cost to something. That means you can pop a 9 cost. There is one relevant 10 cost in the meta. That is big Lin. Kaido isn't really relevant. So basically, and I should say Edward Newgate is very, very relevant, and if you therefore structure it, so on turn 8 you play this down, all your opponent is going to do on your 8 Don turn, on their 9 Don turn is just slam the Newgate and swing 8 into you, take the 8, and then on your turn you go swing Kuzan, -4 cost to that, play my Kuzan, play my 10 cost Kuzan, pop your Whitebeard, swing with leader, minus Don, pop something else, and you've just ruined their entire board. It feels very, very good. And of course you play 4 copies of Impact Wave because frankly, it is the best 2 cost event in the game, in my opinion. Against a bad player, it is totally broken, and against a good player, it's still pretty good. Red tends to leave a lot of chump blockers or a lot of like pluses up, so you can usually get some value out of this card. So overall, how good do I think this deck is? I think this is a solid middle of the pack to upper middle of the pack tier deck. I think it can definitely cook. Obviously, the deck can be quite weak to rush, and in a format with 10 cost Big Mom, taking burn every single turn can feel quite bad, but you do have such powerful removal that, I mean, honestly, it's not unfeasible for you to just be removing all of that, like, at that point. And these decks don't have, like, rushes, really. Like, you got Katakuri, but if you're at 0 life, then the Katakuri is not going to have rush. So as long as you've got a blocker or 2 up, you're usually fine. So I really do think this has pretty passable matchups into basically everything, and even better than passable in some cases, which is shocking, I know. If you guys want to try this deck out, please do. I'm not saying this is the final be-all end-all list, but I definitely do think it's a pretty good one, so I do recommend you give it a go, and let us know any changes you would make in the comment section down below, or how your testing goes. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece card game content, and again, please do check out the Patreon for in-depth guides, or if you just want to help support the channel. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.